Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com. If you enjoy our show, don't forget to help us out by subscribing to this podcast, sharing it with a friend, and providing us with a review on iTunes. Check out the show notes below for the link. Thanks, and enjoy the show.
Today I want to talk about an article that HBR.org recently came out with that spoke about the large accounting firms, aka the Big Four. The title of this article is, If You're So Successful, Why Are You Still Working 70 Hours a Week? And this article is about how successful people in professional service firms like the Big Four are still burning themselves out late in their careers when they should be relaxing or resting on their laurels. And I can definitely relate to this article because I still work a lot, and I've been working for almost a decade in public accounting and in industry. And to give you a flavor of what the article was about, let me read you a few of the quotes that the person who wrote the article obtained in a few of the interviews that they conducted. The first one is from an accounting manager at the Big Four. And the person said, "I really became a robot. I thought it was normal. It's like brainwashing. You're in a kind of mental system where you're under increasing demands, and you say to yourself that it doesn't matter, that you will rest afterwards, but that moment never comes." End quote. And I can identify with this quote because as a staff, I always used to tell myself that I could rest later, but that day never came. You have to set limits on how much time you give your firm, otherwise you'll be constantly giving your firm more time, and you can't just give them your whole life. And the next quote comes from a director of HR in a lead accounting firm. That director of HR said, "The head of audit is in the office regularly from 5:30 a.m. until 10 p.m., on weekends too. So is our managing partner. This is not exceptional. The rest of the firm sees the senior people working these hours and emulates them." And I agree with that as well. There's senior people that are working all kinds of hours now, but I mean, it's not as common as this article makes it seem. It makes it seem like every single partner's there, and I don't believe that's true at all, but there are a lot more partners that are working around the clock than there was when I first started my career. And the next quote comes from the senior business unit leader from a law firm. And that unit leader said, "I just come in here and work as hard as I can all the time. I feel like I'm doing a good job, but it's hard to measure. And that's the nature of what we do. It's feast or famine. And we all tend to be such insecure people that we're all scared all the time." End quote. And that person was from a law firm, but this is also true of accounting firms. It's hard to tell whether you are ever doing a good job because your boss is often not around, or the client isn't around, or doesn't respond to emails. And a lot of communication is over email, and many people in the Big Four don't respond to emails, so you don't know if you are ever doing a good job. And this plays havoc with your brain, and it's especially true with insecure people. And even if you aren't insecure, this is nerve-wracking. But before I go on a huge rant, let me cover a few other things that the article covered. The article said that chronic overwork can be extremely bad for physical as well as mental health. What you should be thinking about this is there's often people in the accounting firms that are proud of being overworked. You know, I've heard horror stories of people sleeping under their desks, but they don't view that as horror stories. They view that as like an honor badge that they put on their chest. But this is very bad for your health, not only physically, but also mentally. It changes the, chemicals in your brains. And so that's why this overwork that many of the Big Four are very proud of, it's not good for you. And they said that overwork at managerial levels of professional service firms is a recent trend. So what they mean is, like, in the Big Four at manager, senior manager, director, and partner, these people are working more than they used to. And this article also said that it used to be that these partners that just chilled at golf courses, but now there are many partners that work around the clock. And the big punchline of the article is that it concludes that a lot of this is occurring because companies like the Big Four are targeting a certain type of people. And these people are insecure overachievers. That's right, insecure overachievers. They target people that they feel are insecure with themselves and their abilities and are willing to overachieve to prove that they belong in the Big Four. And oftentimes, these people are most likely from troubled backgrounds or they have bad families. And so recruiters ask questions to figure out whether this is true. And another reason insecurity runs rampant in the Big Four, according to this article, is because of the intangibility of knowledge work. What does that mean? Well, it means you don't have anything physical that you are creating every day. And I can relate to that because if you work on an audit of a financial statement or a tax return, you don't necessarily know if you're doing a good job. On an audit, for example, you prepare work papers and make sure that those work papers are documented in the system. You take for granted that somebody actually reviews it. And You also go to meetings and you take notes and you send emails. You don't create a widget and you don't sell that widget. You start working January 1st each year and you finish when the deadline comes. You don't finish after you've built a car or built a home or after somebody tells you you've done a good job. That work is intangible and it's immeasurable. In the Big Four, they prey on insecurity. They know that insecure people will come into the firm and burn themselves out trying to prove that they belong with other elite professionals. And the problem is that they never lose this attitude. It sticks with them and they pass it down. And another thing is that the Big Four, they have this promotion culture of where everybody's looking for a promotion. And what this does is it pits people against each other. So you're competing against your coworker. And that's also another layer of insecurity. And so you have competition, working around the hours, intangible work products. This is all the things that lead to insecurity. And now I'm going to go on the rant. The problem I had with this article is it blamed the insecure overachievers at the end. And it blames them for fostering the culture and passing it on. But my point is, why would you blame the people that the Big Four are blatantly recruiting and taking advantage of? Another problem I have is that the Big Four recruit these people and they don't teach them any tactics to deal with their insecurities. How do I know this? I know this because I work at the Big Four. And I work on a project right now where there are no guidelines, no guidance, no deadlines. We are all running around like chickens with our heads cut off. Nobody knows what they are supposed to be doing, so we're all creating work for ourselves and doing what we think the client likes. And we have to wait for feedback for the client. And sometimes there is no feedback, so you're waiting for months and then a deadline comes and you missed an expectation that could have been addressed earlier if somebody just responded to an email. Could we be doing a better job? Yeah, sure, if we had better leadership and resources and strict procedures and guidelines. The problem is the Big Four don't care about any of that. That's not how they work. They don't care about doing good work. They just care about billing more hours. Big Four care about landing the big client, but once they land it, they don't care if they execute. They don't care about making people feel secure by providing guidelines and good feedback. So what am I saying? I'm saying a few things. I'm saying shame on the Big Four for taking advantage of insecure overachievers and fostering an insecure environment. They preach work-life balance and a healthy workplace on one hand, and then they practice something completely different on the other by burning people out. I'm also saying that the Big Four need to adopt better guidelines and practices to prevent burnout and insecurity. And they need to hold their management and partners accountable. They need to make partners and leadership show a good example to their staff so that they can lead better lives and be secure in the workplace. And this article and this research really shows what the Big Four and other professional service firms are made of. They are out there just trying to make money off of people that are looking to improve their lives, and that isn't right. I hope that the Big Four see this article and use it as a wake-up call to improve their recruiting practices, as well as implementing training practices to prevent burnout for future overachievers. Wanted to take a quick break today to tell you about our Big Four interview course. Did you know that only 4% of candidates get into the Big Four? That's right, only 4%. Deloitte gets about 500,000 applications a year, and only 4% of those candidates get in. Well, we want to help you get a job at the Big Four. We want to help you be part of that 4% by preparing you for your Big Four interview, and we think we can do this with our Big Four interview course. Our Big Four interview course provides you with all the important things that you need to do to prep for your Big Four interview. This includes research on all the Big Four that's prepared for you, and also guidance on how to conduct more specific research on the firm and practice you'll be interviewing with. We also walk you through interview questions and how to answer those interview questions the way the Big Four professionals will want them to be answered, among other valuable insights into the Big Four. And if that isn't enough, we offer a PDF of 100 additional Big Four interview questions and a Big Four resume template. You've invested in your accounting education and you invest in your accounting exam, whether that's a CPA exam or another course. So why not invest in a Big Four interview course to help you nail the Big Four interview? Check out the link to the Big Four interview course in the show notes to learn more.
We appreciate your help in growing this podcast so we can continue to bring you the best Big Four content possible. You could help us out by providing a review on iTunes, sending us an email with your comments, and don't forget to share with your friends. There's a link below in the show notes. That's our show for today. Thanks for listening and have a great day.